Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, we are diving into the mystery title, The Weekend Away, written by Sarah Alderson. We are also talking about its Netflix original movie adaptation. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by the Cordoba Agency series written by Delaney Diamond. The Cordoba Agency is a series of sexy, heart-thumping romantic thrillers. There are 3 books available and the 4th on the way this spring. Book 1, Until Now, introduces Cruz and Shanice. A simple, off-the-books assignment becomes the race of life and death. Cruz's story continues in Book 2, Until Death, when the best laid plans can still go awry in the most terrifying way. Heart Stealer, Book 3, introduces us to Raheem. The last thing he wants to do is play bodyguard to the woman who broke his heart. Book 4 in series will release this spring. The series is available now in print and audiobook from your favorite bookseller. Buy Delaney Diamond's audiobooks direct and get up to 50% off. Visit DelaneyDiamond.com to take advantage of that Authors Direct audiobook discount. The link is also in the show notes. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's topic. You can always find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That would really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. Without further ado, let's get started. We've got a lot to talk about today, so we are going to jump to it. Joining me is feature co-host Casey from Heartful of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here. We're going to have a good time today, I tell you.
Yes, we are.
So you guys, today we are talking about The Weekend Away, and it's a Netflix movie adaptation as well. So the book was written by, what's the lady's name? Sarah Alderson.
Sarah Alderson. Yes.
Yeah, so this is my first time reading her. Yours too, Casey?
My first time. And my last time.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll get into all the things. But first, our usual...
Too soon.
Oh my gosh, right? But first, our usual setup for you. So here are the book stats. The book paperback version came in at 336 pages, first published July 23rd, 2020 by Avon and Avon Books. The audiobook came in at 11 hours and 14 minutes, and it was narrated by Helen Keeley. The movie came out March 3rd, 2022. So Casey, would you please share the book synopsis?
All right. Miles from home, trust no one, suspect everyone. Orla and Kate have been best friends forever. Together, they've faced it all, be it Orla's struggles as a new mother or Kate's messy divorce. And whatever else happens in their lives, they can always look forward to their annual weekend away. This year, they're off to Lisbon, the perfect place, the perfect flat, the perfect view, the perfect itinerary. And what better way to kick things off in style than with the perfect night out? But when Orla wakes up the next morning, Kate is gone. Brushed off by the police and with only a fuzzy memory of the night's events, Orla is her friend's only hope. As she frantically retraces their steps, Orla makes a series of shattering discoveries that threaten everything she holds dear. Because while Lisbon holds the secrets of what happened that night, the truth may lay closer to home.
Dun, dun, dun. So you guys, this was really just a mystery. It really wasn't any thriller aspects to me. It was just, trying to figure out what happened, right? Mm-hmm. What happened to my friend kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
You go first.
Okay. High level, the book, I didn't think that it was very interesting until about 50% in. Things started to move a little bit, but to me, 50% is a large amount of time to wait for action to start happening. Yes. So I was kind of put out by that. I'm like, okay, we got a lot of history. We got a lot of things happening, but nothing happening. something but nothing.
Yes, there was a lot of that.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. But once things started picking up, I was kind of like, okay, I was into the mystery, but I kind of guessed a couple of things and didn't guess one thing. But I kept, so I'll just say, because we do spoilers, y'all know.
Yeah, spoilers.
So the whole time, like, I want to say, I can't remember what exactly tipped me off, but the whole time, I swear for at least 30%, I kept saying that landlord has cameras. He has cameras. I kept saying that he has cameras. Like, what? Why are you?
He's crazy. He's stalking you. He's watching you.
Right. And I'm like, okay, so that was annoying me. And then when the guy that she was hanging out with, the Uber driver in the book, in the movie, he was a taxi driver, but there were changes, you guys. There were changes.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of changes, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But you know, when he's like brought up to her, but what about your husband? You know, could your husband do it? I'm like, of course he did. Of course he did.
Of course he did. Yeah.
And it's
Makes
like,
total sense.
And that's the only other thing it can make sense. And then when we had that kind of throwaway like guy, like the police officer, I'm like, he didn't quite hit. And then when it came back around, I'm like, told you, knew it.
Yep.
But the end, I was like, I literally, you guys, if you follow me on Goodreads, I put after I was finished, I'm like, that's how it ends. I was like, ew. So the movie gave us a much more satisfactory ending. The book was like, what? Is this going to be a second book or something? Like, you just end it like that? And by like that, I mean, you know, what's the girl's name? Ola or whatever.
Orla. Yeah.
Orla.
She realizes that her husband is the murderer. And then she turns around to look for him, but he's gone.
With her baby.
With her baby. He's gone.
You're like,
you didn't even want the baby. So walk after him. Like he's 20 feet, 100 feet away from you. Just start walking.
It made it seem like he had just vanished. Like, you know, like he had ran away with the baby. That was like the feeling the book gave me. And I'm like, is that what happened or not? I don't know.
I didn't even think he wanted the baby in the first place.
He didn't. So but I guess maybe once the baby was there, he wanted the baby. I don't know.
I don't
know, y'all. So anyway, that was my high level. What about yours?
This book made me laugh, and not in a good way, but that's the only nice thing I can say about it. I'm sorry. There are so many plot holes. There's so many inconsistencies. Nobody was a good person. Like both Orla and Kate are terrible people, and I wanted to bitch slap both of them.
Yep.
It was boring. Like the first half of the book was boring, like you said. At about 50%, it started picking up, but it was still so bad, and there's so many plot holes. They're just. We're gonna bring back Casey's favorite plot hole game.
Ooh, yay!
For this book, because there's so many plot holes.
I feel like there were even more in the movie than in the book, but
we'll rip them apart.
Yes,
but yeah, no, that's my high level. Is that it made me laugh, but I wasn't laughing in a good way. I was more like when we found out the Uber driver was part of the mafia. I almost fell out of my chair. I was laughing so hard.
What? Okay.
The freaking mafia? Is he a secret billionaire prince too? Are we going to get some absurd fairy tale next? What is happening?
I mean, honestly, we never, unless I missed it, we never really got the real motivation for him helping her unless he just liked her. He liked her. He thought she was cute.
That she reminded her, or
of
she reminded him of his dead wife.
I don't buy it. That's some bullshit.
I think it was that she's a pretty helpless woman and he just wants to feel like the big savior.
Yeah, because he did say that. But I guess it just rolled off my back because I'm like, nah, I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah,
but okay.
It's the dead wife thing that, she's just the dead wife reincarnated.
You remind me of my dead wife, so I want to help you.
So I'm going to threaten a whole bunch of people, I'm part of the mafia, but not really part of the mafia. I'm just like the doctor part of the mafia, but I can threaten people.
See,
so,
and he was going around threatening people in Polish or whatever language they were speaking. And because Lisbon is in, it's in, where is it?
I kept forgetting because
it's in Portugal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm like, I just got finished looking up stuff on Lisbon because a lot of Americans go to Lisbon to retire early. That's nice. A hot spot. Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, this dude, he just going around cursing people out, threatening to bodily harm.
This book was so bad. I can't.
Okay, so look, I wondered, you guys, if you've listened to us, then you kind of already know Casey, this isn't her wheelhouse usually. She doesn't really read anything like this. So I couldn't help but wonder off the rip if she would have some, feelings about it anyway, because it's not romance. What do you think? Did you go into it with any kind of pre misgivings or conceptions about things because of the genre?
No, because I was excited to try a thriller. Like you said, this wasn't really a thriller. It was more of a mystery of like solve the drunk night. So
yeah.
But I mean, right off the bat, chapter 1 and chapter 2, when Orla and Kate are hanging out, I wanted to strangle both girls. They were awful people. Like, before anything even happened, Orla was being a horrible friend. Kate's like, maybe I want to have a baby someday. I froze some of my eggs. And Orla inside her head is like, oh my God, you could never be a mother. Only I get to be a mother. You're a terrible person, even though I've been friends with you for over 20 years. Like, screw you for wanting to be a mother. And I was like, wow, you're a bitch.
Which is funny because I didn't even read it like that. I read it like she thinks that Kate is so wild, she could never be a mother. Like, she made a comment like, can you even basically stop drinking for 9 months? Like, she made a comment like that. I'm like, and I was like, damn, that's
no, their friendship should have ended 20 years ago.
They are frenemies.
Like, it was a horrible, toxic.
They're classic frenemies. You know that term, right? Like, you're friends, but it's really fake friends because you're more enemies than friends.
Yes, that's exactly what they were. And so I had, like, right off the bat, I was not invested in either of them. I think if they had been different people and I was invested in them, I would have felt more for this book. But I think it's the author and the style of her writing and her characters and plot holes. We're going to get into these plot holes. There are too many plot holes.
You know what? Let's break it down. Like, okay, so high level, the plot is very well kind of explained in the synopsis. So Orla and Kate, they have a weekend away for some reason. We really don't know why they're having the weekend away. I guess they haven't done it in a really long time, but they're not celebrating anything. There's no special occasion. They're just friends going away for a weekend. Orla's relationship is meh, we're not having too much sex. We're not doing meh, baby. I might have like postpartum. I'm feeling a little depressed. So she's got that going on. And then Kate's just like, let's just have a good time this weekend. Let's wild out and let's do drugs and get drunk and meet boys and just do the thing. And Orla's like, bitch, I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. So automatically, they're already kind of like got different ideas of what this weekend was going to be. And it seems kind of to me like it was a setup on Kate's part because they had plans to go bike riding. They had plans to do all this stuff. And then when she gets there, Kate's like, fuck all those plans. We doing this. I'm like, that would have pissed me off if that was my quote unquote friend.
Absolutely. And so for that whole first day, before Kate really finds out anything, and she's just wandering around going, where's my friend? My original theory was that Kate was like trying to fake a disappearance Then once she calls the ex-husband and the mother and everybody, and they're like, oh yeah, no, she just disappears like that. I was like, damn it, my theory is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for that whole like first, 20-30%, I was like, oh yeah, no, she's just faking it. She just wanted to like hype it up and then disappear.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And no,
it's like just cause her trauma, it seemed like, Because I'm like, well, okay, so they're at the bar, y'all. So they're at the bar. And, you can tell that Orla is not really drinking too much. Well, first they go to a restaurant. They have a bunch of champagne, expensive ass dinner. Kate says it's all courtesy of her ex-husband, who is a cheater, and he deserves to pay this bill.
Yeah.
So they leave, tra-la-la, and we should note that she has a little argument outside on the phone with her quote-unquote ex at the time. They leave, they go back. The credit card was cut off. Some mess. They go to the bar, and at the bar, Kate is drinking. These two guys descend upon them very quickly, and they're just around.
Well, they walk up to the guys.
Yeah.
Kate takes them straight to the guy's table, and Orla's like, I don't know. They're waiting for somebody. And Kate's like, no, we'll just hang out with them.
Yeah. And they're like welcoming to them instantly, chatting it up, getting extra friendly very fast. And Orla even feels like something is off. She does. But she's like, maybe this guy's just flirting with me just because, Or should we say, like, at the beginning of this night, she didn't have the clothes for a partying night. She was not prepared for a partying night. So
she's wearing Kate's clothes because Kate gave her stuff.
Right. So she's like not feeling her best. She's like, I'm an old mother, I don't know what I'm doing here. She feels like she does not belong, but she's going along with it. She's drinking a little bit. And then she decides to stop drinking. She's like, I'll be too drunk. I need water. What does Kate do? Order her another drink. And instantly she's pissed off. Like, she drinks it and spits it out. What is this? It's not water. It was like gin and tonic or something.
Yep.
And then, so the guy goes and gets her water, comes back with the water. She's like, oh, that's nice of him. Bring me the water. And she chugs it. And instantly in that moment, I'm like, why would you drink anything that this random dude just handed you that was open?
You never drink anything a man hands you.
No,
never.
You just met this fool. He walked away. You could not see him. And he brought you this glass of water. Now, thankfully, in the book, they weren't the ones that drugged them.
No, it was Kate who drugged her friend.
But they changed that late in the movie.
Yes.
But in the book, it wasn't them. So thankfully, he wasn't that horrible of a person.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are dumb. You just taking this water and just chugging it. I'm like, girl, I would never.
Never.
No.
Never. Yeah. No, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to smack her. Like, they're just they're 42, acting like they're 18 and have never been in a bar before.
Right. Orla does a lot of things that are stupid. I'm like, okay, girl.
So many that, she was dumb as fuck. Like, I'm sorry, but she was not using any brain cells at all in this book.
She wasn't. So Kate says, we're taking these guys back. They have a brief little argument about it on the curb because she's not liking it. But at this point, she's feeling very drunk. If she thinks she's like, she's off. Like I feel like she knows something else is wrong, but she can't figure out what it is.
No,
she's too drunk. Then she should be for what she drank. Because that's because she had drugs that she was not aware of.
Yes.
Her own friend basically gave her a date rape drug to knock her out. So they get home and like, she doesn't really remember anything. But waking up and hearing Kate scream, bitch, she hears her scream, bitch. And she wakes up. And then, of course, from here, her friend is gone. So here starts, what happened to Kate?
What happened? What happened?
Where's my friend?
Neither one of these women were redeemable.
No.
Kate did not deserve to be murdered, but also drugging your best friend to then pretend like she slept with the prostitute by shoving the condom wrapper in bed with her. It's just really fucked up and terrible.
And what's even more fucked up is that I believe Kate would have been okay with that guy sleeping with her while she was passed out. But he said, I don't sleep with women like in that state. So he didn't do it. Kate, on the other hand,
actually a decent man.
He
doesn't drug women or sleep with unconscious women, which is rape. So good for him.
But Kate was
He's
okay.
Not a rapist.
She was okay with it. So what does she do instead? She takes a used condom from her escapades and puts it in Orla's bed. So when she wakes up, she's confused about what happened. And of course, Orla didn't even know these fools were prostitutes at first. But upon her investigation, she figures out, wait, we're hired? By who? By Kate? What? Kate would never. And the whole time she's like, Kate would never. Okay, bitch. She did.
You've known this person for over 20 years.
Right.
And you keep saying, Kate would never do this. Kate's so nice. But look at what a terrible fucking person she was. She drugged you. She was sleeping with your husband for over 2 years.
Yes.
There's this friendship was not a friendship. It was a toxic piece of shit.
And on that note, y'all, okay, so this husband of Orla's, this asshole, he like making little of like Kate being gone. Oh, I'm sure she'll be back. Go out and enjoy the day, whatever. And then when she turns up, missing, like legit missing, like something is really wrong. It's like he is so, I don't know. I just feel like the whole time he was like just showing that something was wrong the entire time. Like he sent a photo. And later she realized the photo he sent of him and their daughter was old. It wasn't even a new photo. So he is lying to her face the whole time. She don't even get. She's so slow.
Time.
Yeah. I'm like, she's so slow. My husband would never. He would never. Kate would never. Until she has
They've been sleeping together for years.
Right. For years.
Your husband and your best friend have been hooking up for years. And you didn't notice? And you're trusting.
One night was the day they had their christening for their kid. How gross. Yeah. How gross.
Are you so wrapped up in your baby that you didn't notice your husband and best friend disappeared for a couple hours?
She's like, now that I think about it, when Kate came back, she said she was going to fix her lipstick, and her lipstick was not fixed. Like, okay, girl. That's all I kept saying to this character. I was like, okay.
So dumb. And she was so condescending to everybody. Ugh. No, I did not like Orla at all. And I think if she was a different person, I might have enjoyed this book a little more. But no, I didn't.
I agree. I think maybe I would have had more, I would have felt more bad for Orla had she had been more likable. But I still don't think that despite how she acts, that it like none of the things that happened to her were okay, right? Just like Kate,
absolutely not.
She was a complete asshole, but did she deserve to be murdered? No, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
Yeah. But it's like, wow, what kind of friendship, what kind of people? Like all these people are awful people, all of them, except for the terrible damn Uber driver. He was the only decent person.
He's mafia, so
guy. But remember, he gave this long, reasonable excuse how he got tied up in the mafia. He's trying to escape his prison, not literal prison, but his prison of his country.
Yeah, his war-torn country. And he was almost a doctor, so he's not really mafia. He's just like the doctor to the mafia. The
mafia's doctor,
fixing up their bullet wounds and such, but he can go around threatening people and it's totally fine.
He's like, I've seen them do it 1,000,000 times. I know how to do it.
When I tell you, I fell out of my chair laughing so hard because they're like, do do you know he's mafia? And I'm just like, I can't take it with this.
Orla's like, what? What do you mean? I don't understand. The whole thing, like even the prostitute, she was like, she was like what? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like they were hired? Like she did not understand. He like, yes.
Yeah. Yes. They were paid to have sex because that's what they do.
And then she had the nerve to feel like her feelings were hurt because she actually thought the one guy might have just been interested in her, but he was paid to be interested in her. Ego crushed a little bit, but what's she gonna do? It's funny.
Yeah, no, it's I can't even with this book.
So another part of the book that I because I kind of have been into some luxury bags in the recent history. I watch a lot of things about luxury bags. Not like I'll ever own one, at least not for some years to come. Maybe when I become a millionaire, I'll buy one. But in the book, she had a Hermes Birkin that the prostitute stole. And that was like the catalyst to get Kate out of that apartment because she went chasing after them for this bag, which I don't blame her. They start around 15 grand.
Yeah.
And they stole her everything in it, including her cell phones. They took everything. And she went running out.
Her wallet, her passport.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking dumb on their part because of course she's going to goddamn chase you. Like if you're going to take the bag, leave the passport so she can leave the country. Like
I would leave.
What are you going to do with this woman's passport?
I know. It's like you're already screwed her, literally and figuratively. Yeah. Leave the passport. Let her get home. I mean,
otherwise she's going to chase you down and go to the police and they'll be able to track you down.
Well, and this is another thing that doesn't make quite sense to me because I know full well people who walk around with Birkin bags have them things insured. Because you gonna walk around with 15 grand or 20 grand on your shoulder, you're gonna have that thing insured. I'm sorry.
Oh hell yeah.
There's no way. So for the movie though, they dialed it back a little bit and gave her a 10 grand Christian Dior instead of the Hermes Birkin.
Yeah. She picked that bag probably because they couldn't even find a good
wait a minute, that's a Christian Dior. That's not a Birkin. So, okay, girl. They changed it. Like 10 grand is much more relatable than 15 grand. Is it though? I don't know.
No, it's not.
I'm like, but wait, what 10 grand? Because that's how much they said it was worth in the movie. But I'm like, what Christian Dior bag is 10 grand? Now, I've seen some 5, 6, 7, but I've never heard of a 10 grand Christian Dior bag.
Well, they did say it was 10,000 euros.
Yeah.
So maybe with the conversion rate, it's 7,000 or 8,000 American dollars and 10,000 euros. I don't know. I don't know.
Like I said, I guess nobody on set was willing to let them borrow their Birkin to record that.
No.
But somehow they pulled out a Christian Dior bag. And I'm like, it wasn't even a cute one. They could have gave her like a Lady Dior or something. I'm like, that bag is ugly.
Yeah, no, it was a really ugly bag.
I don't know. But okay, y'all, this is a great time to take a quick break. Check out the commercials. By listening to those, you support the show. Also, feel free to hop on over to Amazon and check out the book review journal and the book review notebook, both available right now on Amazon. So give those a look, check them out, and come right back and we'll finish this conversation. Stay with us. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. So now that we're done talking about the bag, we are back.
Yes.
Me and bags, I swear it's a thing. I got that thing going on. It's a hot topic for me right now, even though I'm like, I'm never gonna buy one of those bags. Like, I can't.
I love purses, but I will never spend $15,000 on one. I'll buy myself a car for that much money.
You know what? You say that now, but let you be suddenly very wealthy tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. No, if I was suddenly like a millionaire, yeah, I might drop some money on a good purse.
Because when 15 grand feels like $150, you're not going to be true. Like that.
Yeah, this is very true. I'm very poor.
Yeah, that's why I'm all like, it's the scale, right? Like I try to understand, but that's why you don't see people walking around with those bags every day, because most regular folk can't afford those bags. But
yeah.
Anywho, so let's do some movie comparisons, shall we?
Or do you want to do Casey's favorite plot
hole?
Let's
do your plot holes first, and then we'll switch gears.
Because I have some good ones.
Okay, hit me with the first one.
Okay, so the first one is with these prostitutes.
Mm-hmm.
So did we ever figure out if prostitution was illegal in Portugal? Because Orla was like, is it illegal? Is it not illegal? I don't know. I could have Googled it, but I didn't Google it.
I'm going to Google it. I feel like Google in the book, it was never clarified I think they assumed it was, or Orla assumed it was, which is why she didn't tell the police.
Okay. Well, these two male sex workers use their real names as the sex workers. And then they tell their clients about their real job in the regular world, not the sex world, but, that they're website designers.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Orla is trying to find these men, she calls the agency. The agent gives out their real names, and Orla's like, oh, yeah, let me type their names and website designer into Google. And then she found their business website. She found their Instagram and their Facebook. And, if she did a little more digging, she could probably find their mothers and their whole families. And I was like, sex workers never give out their real fucking names.
No.
The agency would never give out their real fucking names. They would never tell you what their real job was. You would never be able to find their website design.
They would make up a job before they told you. Right.
None of that would have been possible or should have been possible.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Not. I call complete bullshit on that whole subplot.
Yeah. Most people you'd think would give a fake name, right?
Yes.
At the very least. And so like your working name is one name.
Mm-hmm.
And then you never tell what you really do. Like,
no. If you're a website designer, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'm a vet in real life or something. Like,
yeah, you make up a story for yourself.
Shit separate.
Yeah, because it's fantasy, right? You don't want to mix your real life with that. I wouldn't think
you don't. And again, anybody could just find you by typing your first name and designer into Google, and then all of a sudden, there's your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Especially if you don't have a regular name like Joe.
Yeah.
Or John. You know what I mean? Like you got a unique name. Okay, so just for your FYI, selling sex is legal in Portugal, but the procuring law is so wide that it criminalizes the renting of an apartment to a sex worker, which affects indoor sex workers. It is also illegal for sex workers to work together in indoor cooperatives. Working on the streets is legal. So, yeah. So I guess you can't bring people to brothels are illegal. Sounds like.
Hey, good to know. Because I was just like, I don't know if it's illegal or not, but,
which is hilarious because I mean, don't, if I ever go to Lisbon, any guy that tries to approach me, I would assume is a prostitute trying to get paid. So get away from me. Get away.
What you're saying is that we need a weekend away, but we will stay away from the prostitutes.
We will stay away from the prostitutes. 100%. And we will not drink any drinks handed to us from the men.
No. And we won't drug each other. Like, oh my God.
No way. Fiasco. Okay, so that was a very good plot hole. So
yes.
What's another one?
The next best plot hole, which I'm going to skip to the end for this one, was the dirty cop. So in the book version, Orla has been arrested after fighting with Sebastian and finding out about his cameras, and they got into a fight. So her face is covered in bruises because she got hit in the face with a book. And they've arrested her. She's in the police station, handcuffed to a table, alone in this room with the dirty cop. And she's starting to piece together that he saw Kate the night Kate disappeared. Yes, I see you laughing. And he was like, it was a mistake. It wasn't that bad. And she's like, what did you do? You saw Kate. What happened? And then all of a sudden, this stupid motherfucker punches Orla in the throat.
Yeah.
And then she passes out and wakes up in the hospital later because whatever. So this dumb cop attacks a woman who is handcuffed to the table for no reason.
Just because she's raising her voice at him and accusing him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then even though she's covered in bruises, he hits the unbruised part of her neck. Like, if he was being smart about it, he would, one, take her out of the police station, make up some excuse, and then, kill her off scene for, I don't know. Why would he kill her anyway? He didn't kill Kate. It's just making him look super guilty. But two, at least hit her where she's already bruised. So you can't say that there's like new bruises on her throat. Like,
yeah.
Why are you such a dumb fucking cop?
Yeah. Yeah, that scene in the book, I feel like he was also like strangling her. Like somehow
I think he was like trying to, like, he hit her and then he was trying to strangle her and she passes out.
Yeah. And then the female cop comes in. And yeah, so she, like, her voice was gone for a little while. And she was like, yeah, she was near death. He almost killed her.
He was trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense because he didn't kill Kate.
Right.
He just asked her for sex and she rejected him. And now that Orla's figuring that out, he has to kill her.
Right.
While she's in police custody, while he's the only person in the room with her, while she's handcuffed to the table, so he can't even say it was self-defense.
Yeah.
Like,
which was very dumb.
Plan?
It's very dumb.
It was so dumb. It was so dumb.
Yeah. I mean, why would you try to kill someone if you know, like, even if you were trying to get sex from the girl, which turns out, he was guilty in that.
Yeah.
And he's done that before with other people. But, you didn't kill anyone.
There was no evidence.
Why are you
nobody was saying anything. Orla was just speculating about him and Kate. And then he just made himself look super guilty by doing this. And so.
But then later they did find supporting evidence to show they were together, right? Like, yes. They were here. Look, there's his car, he did drop her off. So those things, I guess, allowed someone to presume that he did the murder, but he didn't do the murder.
Attacking Orla makes you look so much more guilty.
It does.
And if you did kill Orla, then, double homicide. What are you doing?
Yeah, so now he was gonna go to jail for attempted murder because he tried to kill someone. He tried to kill Orla. So now you're really going to jail when you didn't have to at all.
No.
So, yeah, you probably would have been suspended for some bad behavior, but you wouldn't be going to jail.
No. And that's why you should actively be trying to find whoever actually killed her because you didn't do it and you don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, which is weird. Like, these cops were not even acting like cops. They were just like, I didn't feel any cop vibes off of them. They were just working off of things that people told them. And they had, what is the word for that? They were trying to do, it was right on the tip of my tongue before we started this conversation. It's like they had a killer who they wanted, and now they're trying to make evidence support that, right? So they had already thought okay, she did it. Now let's find evidence to support why she did it. Not let's actually try to find the killer, which is dumb because I know he wanted to hide that he had any interaction with her at all, but all the more reason to find the killer because that would remove him.
Exactly. Because he knew he didn't kill her. Like, he knows he's innocent. And it's your job as a detective to find out who actually killed her. I
thought of it. Confirmation bias. That's the term.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, there it is. It just plucked out of my head. There it is. So, but yeah, that didn't make sense. And then the female cop, like, at least in the movie, the female cop seemed like she was somewhat sympathetic at the beginning. But the female cop in the book, she was just like on this roller coaster with him. Like she had no difference of opinion at all. Like she wasn't trying to see anything from a different point of view. She was just rolling with all the bullshit. Like, this is stupid.
No, it was just like, oh, your friend disappeared with her purse and her passport. She's left you. Fine.
Yeah.
Gone.
And for those that don't know, the reason why Kate went to the police station the day before, you know, was because she couldn't chase down those two prostitutes who took her purse. So the cab driver at the time, or taxi driver, took her to the police station and she tried to report her purse stolen to that same police officer who didn't file the report. Instead, he was trying to hook up with her. So that is how that happened. And then the next day, when Orla was like, my friend's missing, she da-da-da, he had already had interaction with her, but didn't say a word.
Nope. And he didn't file the report then either.
No.
Excuse me. He was just like, yeah, no, she'll turn up later. She's just your friend. She's
come
just
back
missing.
in 24 hours.
Yeah. What would change for him in 24 hours? Nothing. He still looks super guilty.
But in his point of view, he left her alive. So he probably just assumed that she would show up.
Probably. But still, like, I would look into it. If I was the last person who saw somebody alive and I know I saw them alive, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah. And I heard like on a true crime thing I was listening to, like I heard it. I think I'd want to Google this to make sure. But when people when cops tell you to wait 24 hours, that's not like a real thing. Like you don't have to literally wait 24 hours. You need to insist to file the missing persons as soon as you feel it's legitimate. You know what I'm saying? That 24 hours thing, they usually say that about adults, but that's not like a hard and fast rule. I think they just don't want to file paperwork because a lot of the times people do show up, right? A lot of the time people do show up, but sometimes they don't. And then you've lost 24 hours.
Yes. Which is wild.
Yeah, especially like this situation, you're in another country. Why in the fuck would she just walk off? You know what I'm saying? That does not make sense. That doesn't make sense on any level. Like,
so my original working theory was that she was trying to get away from the divorce and her ex-husband. You know, like in that first day when nobody has talked to Kate yet. I was like, okay, so maybe like she's definitely set this up and she's planned something. And I think she's like planned to get away and just disappear. And, you know, this is going to be a weird plot twist. But no, as soon as Orla started calling Kate's ex-husband and mother, and they're like, oh yeah, no, she just disappears like this. I was like, God damn it. My theory is wrong.
Yeah, I thought at first, like, maybe she was just similar to you. I thought she was just trying to, I don't know, like, just run away from it all. But I'm like, or maybe I just had a hard time. I'm like, I don't know why she would just leave her girl like that. Like,
because they weren't really close and they weren't really good. And in that first chapter, she kept saying things like, we're best friends and I love you forever. Don't ever forget that. And I was like, okay, so she's definitely setting something up. Is she going to run away?
And in the end, you guys, what she was setting up is like, look, we're friends, but I'm about to tell you something awful.
I'm going to steal your husband and your baby.
Well, she was going to tell her about the affair. And we know that because it comes out like the husband, the husband was the one that killed her, Orla's husband killed Kate.
Yes.
But we found out
their affair.
Right. But we found out the whole time that she said she was talking to her ex, she was arguing with Orla's husband. He's like, don't tell Kate. Don't, he's trying to persuade her to keep the secret. And she's over it. So I think, she's over it. Like, I think she was going to tell, but then that kind of conflicts with her plan. So I guess she wanted Orla to feel like, well, if she cheated and, Rob or whatever his name was, he finds out you cheated, then he'll leave you and be free to be with me. But at the same time, I'm still going to tell you about that. Doesn't really jive. Like, you either want her to cheat and then be found out and then they separate and you be the innocent one. Or you're going to admit what happened. I don't see how the both of those stories can exist at the same time.
That was one of the other that was one of the minor plot holes that was bothering me the whole time, because like, what was Kate's plan? She talked about wanting a baby. She talked about moving to the suburbs. In one of the text messages, Rob was like, I can't leave Marlo. And Kate was like, well, the three of us can be together or whatever. Like, it was definitely like just get rid of Orla and I'll move right in. I'll be the baby mama. It's fine. And no, because they'd been sleeping together for years while Orla was going through IFV. And Rob didn't want her to do the third round of IFV, but Orla did it anyway. And that's when she got pregnant, and she was like, and he was so upset, or he was really quiet. And
because he was just about to leave her. He had decided the text messages reveals this, because Orla gets access to Kate's text messages and she reads all these messages. So it turns out he was about to leave her at that point. And then she's like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, fuck, I can't leave now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kate. I can't, know.
And that's when Kate was like, I'll be baby mama.
Yeah.
Move me in. I will drug her and set her up with a prostitute. And then you guys can split up and I can move right in.
Yeah. Which, again, conflicts with why in the fuck would he be begging you not to tell her unless you were just pulling his chain?
She might have just been pulling his chain. And he said something about, how Kate wanted to feel power over him. And that's why he came running over on Friday night, which was a whole other weird thing. Like,
yeah, like this is another thing about Kate's character. So the whole time at the beginning, we've been told that Kate's husband is a cheater. That's why she's getting divorced. She hates all these things about him. That's why she's spending up all his money. And then when the husband talks to to Orla, he goes,
we haven't talked in weeks.
Yeah. Like, you don't really know what's been going on, do you? Basically, she told you it was my fault, didn't she? But actually, he pretty much confesses that he's known about this. He just didn't want to blow up her marriage, Yeah. Which is, I feel like a way about that too. Like, what you mean you wouldn't want to blow? Okay, so if my husband was cheating with my friend's wife, let's say I had a guy friend and he was cheating with his wife, I would totally tell him. I would blow they shit up, because I wouldn't let them keep doing it. Fuck that.
No, because they kept doing it and they kept doing it and they kept doing it and they hooked up with the friggin' christening.
Like, I mean, even if he was a casual friend in passing or whatever, I would still go and say, hey, my motherfucking husband has been sleeping with your motherfucking wife. And I found out. I would totally rat them out.
Yes.
Like, everybody shit's fucked up, not just me.
But nobody told Orla.
I didn't really grasp that. I mean, maybe that's a man thing to do. I don't know. You gonna let your ex-wife or soon to be ex-wife keep carrying on with her shenanigans
and her friendship and act like everything's okay?
Yeah.
And like it's so twisted and awful.
So that's like, he's like sleeping with his best friend's wife, like if it was reversed. What the fuck?
No, that's not okay.
That's not how I just don't understand that. So that was kind of also kind of wishy-washy to me as well, that explanation.
Yeah. No, it was stupid.
Yeah.
It was one of those minor plot holes that didn't make the cut. I was like, yeah, no.
It just didn't
none
jive.
of this stuff made sense. Like,
yeah.
It really didn't. Even Rob flying over on Friday night did not make sense because, like, what the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah, and he had just told her on the phone, like, you're due back tomorrow. Oh, you mean when he killed her before?
Yeah, when he killed her on Friday night and then flying over again to be there with Orla. And, like, no, like, either...
Look, I don't know how you think you can sneak in and out of a country. You can't. You can't.
Especially if you're buying a plane ticket. Your wife is going to find the receipt.
You know what?
Any government plane ticket.
Any government too will be able to find a passport where they stamped your passport upon entry, no matter how you got there. You're going to a foreign country because they're from England. This is Portugal. You have to have a passport stamped. And you're right. The wife, and Orla did, like, went into their points account or something.
Yeah, and found that he bought the plane ticket. Yeah. And I was just like, of course she did. It takes 2 clicks.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
Right. And then the husband, he was so retarded. Like, so after Orla finds out, she finally talks to him, and he seemed like a limp ass. Like, he like, I'm sorry. I'm like, bitch, I'm sorry. You got me over here looking like I have a motive.
Are you just going to let your wife take the blame for this murder? And,
it seemed like he was going to let her go down for it. Like, he was.
Which, if she actually got a lawyer, they would have looked into all the receipts.
And look, that's another plot hole that I felt was missing. I'm like, the whole time, after the first time they told her to come, like, involuntarily come here and answer these questions, I've been like, where's my attorney? Let me get an attorney to meet me there. I'm like, I kept saying, where's your damn attorney? You clearly not broke. Get a damn attorney. Why would your husband not hire an attorney for you or get someone for you if you couldn't do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gonna walk around this bitch without an attorney, just talking to people, get yourself looking like you guilty?
At least you got one in the movie.
Yeah, I'm like, well, they rectified that kind of in the movie, even though the attorney was, like, dumb. And, like, it was like one scene with the attorney, I feel like.
Yeah, no, it was just enough to get her in there to be like, yes, we have a lawyer now, but not enough to, like, actually mean anything.
Maybe that's just because in the movie, okay, so this is like a major thing that they changed. In the movie, Orla was Beth, and Beth was American.
They changed so many names, and it was so, like, they changed so many tiny details. Yes, she was American instead of Irish. They changed her name to Beth instead of Orla. The baby's name was Marlo in the book and Astor in the movie.
Yeah, which was pointless. You could have kept Marlo. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Kate's ex-husband was Jay in the movie instead of Toby in the book. Like, it was
like, why change the names?
These things? Why?
Right. But I understand why they would change Orla, because if they wanted her to be American and she didn't want to do an Irish accent, then you might want to change her name to an American sounding name. But all the others didn't need to be changed.
No.
And that's the only thing that kind of jived with the attorney, because an American be like, give me an attorney. I don't know what a British person or a Irish citizen would do, but Americans be like, I know my rights. Give me a fucking attorney.
Give me my attorney. I need my attorney right now.
Right. So that was the one thing that kind of jived with them changing her. But all the other changes were like dumb. There was no reason.
No, none whatsoever.
And they went to Croatia instead of Lisbon.
Yeah.
Which is, again, so I'm like, Croatia? Like, what's the point of changing the location?
Maybe filming, but I don't know. Then why? Yeah, they changed so much in the movie. The movie was slightly better than the book. So the prostitute plot hole, they just called the agency and set up an appointment with them. They didn't search on Google. They didn't find their real name or anything like that. Although their names changed too.
Yeah.
And so that was slightly better. Although Zane in the movie, the Uber driver who, different names, he was a little bit more violent in the movie. In the book, he just threatened to hit people or punch them in the face. In the movie, he's holding him off that cliff, like threatening to throw him over.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that makes you look a little guilty. Is this what you did to Kate?
Yeah. It's a little more volatile for sure. And I don't know if I think the movie was better. I think they were both meh. I actually had to rewind a couple times. Like I would find myself drifting to my phone. And I'm like, oh, wait, I think I missed something important. And I went back like 30 seconds or a minute. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
It took me forever to finish the book. I didn't finish the book until like midnight last night. And so I woke up this morning and I was like, all right, I'm going to sit down and watch the movie before we record the podcast. So I made myself like pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was not something I will ever repeat watch.
Yeah. And the Sebastian thing was I think, really bad in the movie. I think it came off worse in the movie for him with his cameras and stuff.
In the book, he was just as creepy.
Yeah.
There were definitely a lot more videos of people having sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
This one other scene. So there was this one scene, you know how we talked about when the prostitutes came for the meeting. So in the book, they came for the meeting, they sat down, and then Orla approached them from the back and said hello. And then they were like, and they ran. And then Orla, I remember there was this whole sentence about she didn't know what to do. So she was standing there for like a whole minute or something before she decided to give chase after them.
Yeah.
And in the movie, Orla and Zane or whatever, Beth and Zane were sitting there. And then they came, they turned, they saw them and ran, and then they jumped up and ran after them. So I'm like, well, that made more sense to me than the other
way. A little more
way.
actionable, but yeah.
I'm like, what is this? Yeah.
In the book, Orla can't seem to like make a decision to save her life. She is wrapped up in her own head, in her own life. She's so involved with whatever she wants to do. And yeah, like she sits there, she's like, should I run after them? My Uber driver just ran after them. What
should I go? What do I do? Doug, bitch, run.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing that I appreciated in the movie that we didn't get in the book. Like when, she said she had been drugged, and she wasn't sure what happened or if she had been, the cop actually asked her in the movie, were you assaulted? Do you know if you were assaulted? Like they had asked more, like she was more caring toward her in the movie at first.
And they took her to a goddamn hospital. Yes. And I was like, fucking
that's what you're supposed to do. If you have been drugged and you can't remember what happened to you,
you want to get your blood tested.
You want to have a rape kit. You have to do that.
Especially if you're sleeping with a prostitute, you need to know if you're going to get gonorrhea
or something else worse
or something else. Like, yes, go to a hospital and get tested. The whole book, she's like,
and you need proof. Like,
I don't remember.
They would tell you had ketamine. You know what I'm saying? You were giving ketamine. They would know within 24 hours what was in your blood, what they gave you.
Yes.
And in the book, she's just stumbling around town like, I don't know. And then she just waited for the people to tell her that they didn't do anything. And she just took it at their word.
Yeah. Which is so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
At least in the book, she's able to see on the camera her friend drugging her. But that was really fucked up and so stupid. And
yeah, she did see them like put her in the bed in the movie.
So
they
the
walked out.
movie softened Kate a lot.
They did.
Which was good.
In the movie, they made out that Kate and him had just recently started that affair, and it wasn't going on for years and years.
No, it had only been a couple months. And in the flashback, she's like, it was the worst night of my life. It was the biggest mistake ever. I don't want to do it again. I'm going to come clean and tell my friend what happened. And the husband flips out and kills her.
Right. So in the book, Kate actually wanted the husband. In the movie, Kate's like, I made a big mistake. So they really did try to make her, like, you're right. They softened her a lot.
She did not drug Beth.
Right. The guys actually did, because it was the
prostitutes.
They put the prostitutes drug the people that they're about to sleep with. They don't actually sleep with them. They just steal their stuff and run. So that's like a scam.
Yeah. How can you say prostitutes work at an agency where they, I don't know.
Like, if you can't remember, they can say, yeah, we slept together. You don't remember? And then you're like, I don't remember.
Well, then who took my stuff?
I don't know. That doesn't make sense either.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Like, hey, they call the agency like, hey, your prostitutes came up in here and all of a sudden all my stuff is gone.
Yeah. My stuff is gone. I've been drugged. What's happening? I'm going to sue you. I'm going to tell the police about you.
Maybe if they were working their own side gig, but that didn't make sense if they were taking calls through an agency, a modeling agency or whatever.
Yeah. No, it made no sense. None of this made sense.
No.
None of it.
There was a lot of things, like when you start breaking it down, it's like, and it didn't take much, honestly. It didn't take much to start noticing the things.
No, if you're paying attention, you're just like, what the fuck is, what is this?
Yeah.
There's so many plot holes. None of this makes sense. These are all terrible people doing terrible things to each other. Why should I care about any of this?
Yeah. And, wild. So, so in the end, obviously we had a lot to say, right? So there were things to talk about, but I agree with what you said earlier, Casey, that this will be my first and last time reading Sarah Alderson. I just don't think it's for me.
No, I just...
Yeah.
There are too many plot holes. There are too many inconsistencies. There are too many terrible characters. Nobody to root for. It's poor writing and poor editing.
I think the premise was interesting, but she could have done a lot more with it.
Yes.
It could have been so much more than what it was, but the story was very simplistic, and it could have been a lot more everything.
Yes, it really could have.
All right. So shall we rate the book and the movie?
Do you want to go first?
Okay, sure. So upon initially closing the book, I gave it a 3. I'm like, well,
nice.
It wasn't awful, but it wasn't good either. So that's usually where my 3s are. Meh, the mess zone, right? So I gave it a 3. But after talking about it more, I really want to change it to a 2. I want to change it to a 2. It wasn't good. And there were abundant plot holes.
Yes. Yes, there were.
For me, the movie was not better than the book. So I would give that a 2 out of 5 as well. The movie was not better. They made a lot of changes that were stupid and didn't make sense. But on the flip side, they did make some changes that I liked more, that were more logical as far as how someone would behave in this type of situation. But I don't think I liked Leah Meester. Is that her name?
I think so.
I think, and I liked her. I like her from Gossip Girl, but I've never seen her in anything else. And she acts kind of the same. Maybe it's her voice, her mannerisms. They're the same. So I was just like, meh. It's fine. It's great for straight to Netflix. But if I weren't already invested in the book, to be honest, I probably would have fallen asleep during the movie.
Yeah.
For me, both get 2 out of 5. What about you?
So if I was in a nice, generous mood, I would give the book 2 stars, but I'm really annoyed and frustrated with it. I mean, it did make me laugh, like fall out of my chair laughing, but I wasn't supposed to laugh like that when you found out that he's mafia. But I could not stop laughing. Like, it was just so absurd. Yeah. Like, Horace is the friggin' mafia. Like,
yeah.
But there's so many plot holes, and I didn't like anybody. So I just give it a 1 star. Like, I am annoyed with it. There's so many things wrong with it. I could talk for another hour about how annoyed I am with this book, but I don't want to waste my time. So the book gets 1 star from me. The movie, they changed a lot. And like changing the names was really annoying and stupid and pointless. Like there was no reason to change all the names like that. They improved a few things. They made a few other weird choices. I'll give that a generous 2 stars. I did thumbs down on Netflix when it says rate this title, thumbs up or thumbs down. I went thumbs down. Don't recommend this to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll give it a generous 2 stars, but I will never recommend this to anybody ever.
No, I wouldn't either. It was disappointing. Like when I saw really the movie trailer, I was like, oh, this could be interesting. Okay, I'll check it out.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
I will read any other thriller you want me to read. But please stop with the plot holes.
You know what? I swear, like, I'm like the one time I choose like this type of genre, I'm like, it goes left. And I'm like, oh, of course it wouldn't be a great one.
A lot of terrible adaptations for us too. So
I know. We try, y'all. We try. The thing is though, and as you know, most of you guys are book readers. I know.
Yeah, you hope for the best and you pick up a book, and sometimes they're disappointed.
Yeah, like it looks good from the outside, but it's not good on the inside.
Not on the inside.
Yeah, like it has all the markers for a good story, but it just doesn't come together.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what happened with The Weekend Away. So this one, I started a new thing. So this one, I am putting it in the giveaway pile. It's not going back on the shelf. It's going in the giveaway pile.
Oh, good. I got mine from the library. It's going straight back.
All right. So recommendation, do not buy for your shelf. Do not buy. Do not buy.
No.
Yes.
Do not read. Do not watch.
Yes.
Save yourselves.
Save yourselves the time and read something else.
Yes.
All right. I think we're done. What do you think, Casey?
I think we're done.
Okay. Well, this has been a fun conversation.
As always.
And I hope you guys return for another one. We'll have something new for you next month on our bookish topic. We'll have something new for you. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.